First of all, you need to be smart and understand your customer, always putting him first. Our consequences are modular systems that allow efficient joint engineering and investments.
Good afternoon. Oh, it's loud now. Good afternoon. I hope you can hear me. For those who can't hear me, you use the headset. The headset should be working fine. And is it not working? Should be working, yeah. So you have to turn it on here. Turn it on and then put it on channel 1. Well, welcome to the session on modularization. My name is Joachim Drees. I'm an executive member, and a member of the executive board of TRATON SE, and at the same time, I'm the CEO of MAN Truck and Bus. I would like to invite also Niklas to join me for this session on modularization. Warm welcome to you as well. Thank you very much for joining me today. And of course, later on we have Helmut Schweighofer here from the DB Schenker CEO, and we're really proud to have you here. Thank you very much that you take all this time and this day to join us here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and I will be happy to help out as much as I can about modularization, and let's start the show.
Yes, we start. And for us, it's the third time today, so it feels a bit like Groundhog Day. And it's raining outside. So this session is about modularization and some really impressive examples what it means for TRATON and our customers. I think first of all you should ask yourselves, why do you do modularization? Because only if it makes sense it's something you should pursue. And we believe it's the smartest and the most customer-oriented method to build trucks and buses, and to build the trucks and buses which we want, which our customer wants, and which we want to deliver to our customers. So from our point of view, it's a clear win-win situation for both customers and for the TRATON brands. We can bring the better products, faster availability. I think we can make sure that they're actually tested in a better way, because modules can be tested individually and then can be reused. The customization, of course, is a big effect, and then cost effectiveness for all parties involved. So it's the right truck for the right application for our customer, which should bring more profit to our customer and should bring competitive advantage to TRATON as a group. And after all, of course, it's all about also synergies and partnership with our suppliers, which we can then use in an entirely different way when we think of our modules. So we also know that modularization is not entirely new topic, Niklas, as we discussed it earlier. And of course, we have two of the most successful brands in TRATON with Scania and MAN in Europe.
We do.
And of course, everybody was thinking about modularization earlier. And so we have two ways of looking at modularization today: at Scania with the Büchlader, and at MAN with the MAN Baukasten. And I'm happy to hear more from you now about what this means.
Yes. So I will start with the Scania Bygglådan, which is called in Swedish. It's actually started at Scania around the 1930s, where the modularization was established. And it's all about building trucks with a limited number of parts, optimizing and making the truck specialized for just that application. That's what modularization is all about. And Scania uses 3 principles to do this, which is now becoming the TRATON principles together with the MAN input. But it starts with having standardized interfaces. And standardized interfaces is, to simply put it, making sure that all the modules and parts fit together. That's the key. Then you can leverage so much more. And interfaces are, of course, not only the physical parts, it's also the software and the theory behind all the interfaces that becomes the definition of an interface. The other one is well-balanced performance steps. And that's all about making sure that we have the right number of parts, preferable the lowest number of parts, to maximize the number of variants we want to sell to our customers. You following? And the third one is, of course, same need, identical solution. And therefore, and there we actually talk about standardization. There we want to make one part that fits the same need and not make similar parts that fits the same need. So we actually want to make identical parts for that. And the key is to figure out how many performance steps you need on that component or system to suit all the customers we are trying to sell to.
Yeah, that's thanks, Niklas. I think it's very good that you kind of describe what is the Big Data all about. I don't want to go into depth for the MAN side. I just want to explain that we laid at MAN the foundation for our modular system almost 30 years ago, so not quite 80.
No, but a long time.
But a long time ago. And we introduced at the time an advanced modular parts list, which allowed actually this modular kit to exist. And we believe now for the future, we brought this modular kit on a new level, on the next level, actually on a in TRATON, but also, of course, then with the positive effect on MAN. And I will talk about this, what I believe, what the new level is, in a bit. A true highlight, which I mentioned before, is coming up, which actually describes part of the work there.
And you will come into that, but modularization is not only for engineers to design parts. It has a huge impact on our procurement, our production, and our way to service our vehicles. So if I produce and design a part in Brazil, for example, it's easy applicable to transfer that over to Europe and assemble it on the vehicle lines we have here in Europe, and vice versa. So the brands are already modular, but with different interpretations. But what makes TRATON unique is, of course, that we are combining all the expertise from the different brands at MAN and at Scania, and together with the leadership from the two brands, we are truly creating a truly TRATON modular approach to tackle the future. And the interface thinking we have is, of course, to protect those interfaces for upcoming facelifts and upcoming customer requirements. And if we move to next slide, connecting to what Christian Levin said, what you see here in the picture, which he also brought up, is that this is the new common base engine for the group. It's a new 13-liter engine, which is targeting the main segment both Scania and MAN has. It is truly modular because 80% of that engine is common. And 20% of the engine is made of parts and designs, so we keep the brand uniqueness for the different unique applications that the brands have. And this engine, together with the transmission, will see light and start to be seen in the end of 2020 and launched at Scania during the beginning of 21, and then going further on to MAN, of course, and Volkswagen Omnicomnibus. What more? Yeah, one more important thing to say about the engine is that if you look on modularization and its importance for business, is that 25% of this engine or of a vehicle's cost is connected to the engine. So if commercial vehicle costs 100%, the engine stands for 25% of that cost. So it's truly important for us to be harmonized on that type of platform.
Yeah, I think it's a very good example for modular system where we have 80% of same parts and only 20% is brand individual, and we can still separate the brands by characteristics. So, of course, internal combustion engines will play a major role in the 13-liter segment anyways, because it is the big volume segment which we have today, and we believe that this is, of course, something which will stay. And of course, efficiency is also absolute key here. But we also believe that part of the future will be electric. And so I think we have another very good example where we start really from scratch actually a year ago about our common e-drivetrain. So what did we do then in order to come up with a modular approach for this e-drivetrain? We said, first of all, let's map our customer demands and identify the use cases for each of the brands for the e-drivetrain. And then we said, based on those use cases, we defined e-propulsion performance steps. So kind of like we translated customer requirements coming from the market into technical requirements for the performance of the e-propulsion system. And now we develop an e-drive modular kit for the whole TRATON group, which is then available to all brands to use it. Right now in the e-mobility, you can see some smaller pilots out in each of the brands. As for example, the MAN eTGM, you can actually drive here, or you can sit in and drive with it. And if you look at our current planning at MAN, is what we foresee for the e-drive. We will bring out now a small series of the eTGM for the next years to come, and then we are really looking into having the first edition by late 2023 with this common platform on e-propulsion by the end of 23 in our MAN e-truck, and by 2024 we will have our series truck based on this particular technology. So we're kind of moving the technology on one platform. So, ladies and gentlemen, we highlighted some of the great potential of modularization just with two examples, one with more conventional technology, but with a great engine, and one more with the e-drive, but it shows what potential we have in the group. But the big question is, and that's where I would like to ask Helmut on stage, is what does it all mean, modularization? What does this all mean for the customer? And I would like to introduce Helmut Schweighofer, the CEO of Schenker Region Europe. We have been meeting quite a few times now. Really happy that you're here. So what is your view as a customer, and what do you give us on the way for the future?
Joachim, first of all, many thanks for having me here. Very proud to support you here, giving also my opinion. And of course, being in a quite a tough industry, where margins are low, if you really want to come up in the end of the day as the winner and to succeed, you have to develop and deliver to the customers best-in-class solution. And best-in-class solution is one part of the whole story. The other part of the story is TCO, total cost of ownership. And in other words, very simple, what I mentioned already on stage. What we recommend from your side, from our suppliers, and especially from the car producer side, is very cost efficient and very reliable products and trucks.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, obviously, we know that the logistics industry is a tough industry. It's a lot of competition, but of course, you with Schenker, you are one of the market leaders. So, I mean, for you, it's I mean, you're really good in what you do. So, of course, we listen very carefully to what you have to say. So, I think we believe it's key to not only offer the products, but also the services to our customer, and we, of course, need to keep them above all. We need to keep you profitable. I mean, we have to do our share that you can actually stay profitable. We believe that modularization is actually an important part of it. And I would like to give you now an example on our new truck generation, which I mentioned several times. This new truck generation will provide an even more customer-oriented way of how to sell the product. In this case, we call it guided selling. Guided selling will actually be the next level on customer orientation. It will be actually the right product from start. So it's all about an application-based configuration right from the start. Our customers, or how I like to call our customers, more like our partners, because that's why I think how it should be, have a specific transport job to do, and they are very different, the transport jobs. So it's important that we, on the other hand, actually do offer the right product from scratch. How do we do this in the future? It's completely different than we do it today. Our sales reps will now have a guided interview along various dimensions and criteria in the configurator, and then we get a recommendation from the configurator depending on the customer needs. The customer needs could be a truck trailer unit versus, of course, an articulated train, or it has to be, could depend on the topography you're going. I mean, sometimes you go more in the Netherlands where it's more flattish, or you go through the Alps where you have a hilly area. Or the road condition, of course, is a very basic difference when it's asphalt versus off-road. And of course, engine power. Maybe you don't want to have too much engine power, in particular when it's flat, because then the driver's going too fast. Or the question is also the driver's cab. Do you want to have a large cab or a small cab? What is the task to fulfill? So we believe with this guided selling and with this approach, we can actually deliver for each customer from scratch the right products they need, basically based on modules which we have in our configurator. So the biggest benefit then is the right product, the right configuration, and of course a good result is also that we will be much faster in the future to actually offer you the right vehicle, and you don't have to wait for days or so until you get an answer, or your people who are working for you get an answer. So we believe that this is, again, looking into modularization and this guided selling, we believe this is a complete mind and methodology shift for MAN to turn into even more market and customer-centric company and portfolio, which we would like to offer to you. And I hope this is something you will, at the end, then experience as something positive.